Alright, so the other day I talked about a movie, and I don't talk about movies very often. Today I'm going to talk about another one. Before I get into this video, I want to say that if you have never seen the Death Note anime, I really can't help but recommend you check out the Death Note anime. It is easily available on Netflix now for you to watch. I recommend before watching my video, before watching this movie, you watch the Death Note anime. Because if you watch the movie first, I feel like you're going to have one of two things happen. Either you're going to assume that that is the bar for quality of the anime, and it's not. The source material is infinitely better. Or you're not going to really get the full breadth of why this movie pisses me off so very, very much. I mean, for fuck's sake, I took notes. I took notes. The Death Note film on Netflix is a dumpster fire. And I'm going to go over why it's a dumpster fire. But I have to emphasize again, if you haven't seen the anime, you should see the anime. Trust me. The reason that you should watch the anime before seeing the film is because the anime in and of itself is pretty fantastic. It's one of the best anime I've seen in that it is not, it's not like Naruto and Bleach with, oh yeah, let me hit the bad guy with my big sword. It's much more of this going on. It's a thinking man's anime. All the time characters are trying to determine what's going on, determine how they're going to stop or execute a plan. It's very intellectual in its design. I'm not saying that it's something like, oh, you gotta be super smart to know this anime. You can be an idiot and watch it, and it's interesting. But at the same time, it's not one of these anime that's all about, oh yeah, let's fight. We're a shonen action anime. No, it's just a much more engrossing experience with a lot more thought put into every single action going on. The characters are interesting and intricate. The scenarios are just amazing. Some of the moments and some of the surprises and the twists are fantastic. And every moment you're just wondering, how is Light going to pull this off? Can he pull this off? Is he going to get caught? What's going to happen next? It's just a fantastic ride from beginning to end. And I really can't help but say that if you haven't seen Death Note, you really need to watch it. Especially before watching this piece of shit film. So, a lot of you might be wondering, well, Brett, what's the problem with the film? The film has several problems. I think one of the biggest issues is that it's a film. It's a movie. You've got, what, 2 hours at most to just spew all of this stuff in that takes place over like a 30-something episode anime series? That's one problem that a lot of different movies have had, trying to fit too much into things. For instance, if you want me to say what this movie reminds me of, it reminds me of M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender. Because it tries to fit all of this stuff into the span of 2 hours, and that doesn't fucking work. There's a lot of things in the anime that are fleshed out and given a lot of character and a lot of depth. A lot of things that this movie just either glosses over or doesn't even mention. For instance, one thing that I thought was funny is the very moment when, the Death Note was open. I think I was watching it with Taylor at the time. I've actually seen the film 3 times now. I watched it first when I was with Crystal up in New Hampshire, and she had never seen the anime, so we watched the anime first, and then we started watching the movie. About halfway through it, she's like, even if I hadn't watched the anime, this is shit. I don't want to watch any more of it, and she turned it off. Second time I was with Taylor and Enoch, and the third time I watched it again so I could take notes for this video. But I believe it was when I was watching it with Taylor, he's like, wow, there's a lot of rules in that book. And it's like, yeah, there's a lot of rules in the Death Note. It wasn't shown in the anime initially, but every single time you would cut between an episode, like you have episode part A, episode part B, you have that commercial in the middle, it would show a snippet of the rules from the Death Note. And they'd gloss over a lot of different rules that are in this one. There's also a lot of things they fuck up on, like what the Death Note is capable of and the capacity it has to control somebody before their death. But I'll get into that in a bit. But the biggest issue with this movie is that it's a movie, and they've tried to fit all of this into it, and it just doesn't work. So, yeah, I'm going to go over the things that annoyed me about this movie. This is just going to be a straight-up rant. Some of my notes are discombobulated, but I have a lot to go over. So, oh man, let's just go over it. I'm wondering if I should just hold the notes here. I don't think you guys can see it. So, I don't want to look down the entire time either. So, one of the first problems I have with this is that it is an Americanized adaptation of a Japanese anime. And I understand that there's going to be differences and there's going to be changes. But some crucial things about the characters they can't even get right. Again, I understand it's an adaptation. There is a little bit of wiggle room and you can change some things. But there's some stuff that they change in this that just pisses me off. I think the biggest thing that pisses me off about the main characters... Alright, so you have Light Yagami in the anime, his father, his mother, his little sister. It's a good family. His father is a police officer. He is a straight A honor student. He is very intelligent. He's very popular as well. And overall, the anime really does its best to warp and shift your perception of a good student, a good-looking guy, and he's actually a serial killer with a death god on his side. However, in the film adaptation, I understand Light Turner versus Light Yagami. It's Americanized. Turner, I get it. I don't necessarily like it, but okay. But in the film adaptation, the relationship between Light and his father is broken as fuck. The first interaction that you see with the two of them is them arguing. And they're arguing, of course, because Light's mother is dead, and there's never any mention of him having a little sister. Not only that, Light himself is not, he is still intelligent, not as much as he is in the anime. I'll get to that. He's a fucking idiot in this. But he's not an honor student. He's not popular. He's kind of just an underdog fucking dude doing other people's homework for him for cash. And I think that that's really stupid how they took a character that was already so very interesting in the anime and just kind of warped him into this dipshit that does stupid things. At the very beginning, it doesn't set up any real faith for me for Light as a character, because when you see him interacting with a bully, he just seems like a complete douche. He doesn't seem calculating. He doesn't seem intelligent. Light Yagami from the anime is calculating. He's intelligent. He's always several steps ahead. He's a thinker. However, this guy just seems to run on impulse. Not only that, a big difference between the film adaptation and the anime is with Ryuk and the Death Note. Alright, so let's be perfectly honest. Ryuk in the anime is fantastic. He doesn't give a shit. He finds humans interesting and their plight and their lives. He finds them to be very interesting, but he doesn't care to help. He's not on Light's side. He just wants to sit and observe what happens when he drops a Death Note into the world of the humans. And in the anime, the Death Note literally falls out into a courtyard and Light just happens to see it and run over and pick it up. However, in the film adaptation, it could not have fallen closer to Light Turner. That's a big issue I have, almost like Ryuk picked him. That's a problem. In the anime, Ryuk makes it very clear that he didn't care who picked it up. He just wanted it to fall into our world and he wants to observe what's happening. And in the film, it seems like Ryuk is way too eager to help Light, so far as telling him, you should kill Kenny. Here's a pen. That's a big issue with Ryuk's character. He is a death god. He doesn't engage in that sort of way. He's very hands-off, only going so far as to write names in the notebook occasionally. That's a big problem for me as a viewer who enjoys the anime seeing this film adaptation. But that's not the only problem we have with characters. Another issue that I have with the characters is in terms of Misa. I don't think she's exactly in this. There's a girl called Mia, I think that's her name, and she's just another one of Light's classmates. She's this weird little cheerleader girl who smokes in the middle of cheer practice, because I've seen that so many times. I don't understand what it is with films and glorifying the idea that a teenager's smoking. You know, a teacher would tell them real quick, hey, go to the fucking principal, smoking in the middle of cheerleading class. That doesn't happen anywhere. If you're going to smoke a cigarette at school, you have to hide in the fucking bathroom to do it. I've done it before. It's not fun. But she is there, and there's no mention of Rem. There's no mention of the eyes. If you're a fan of the anime, you know what the eyes are. I'm guessing they're saving it for a possible sequel, which I hope to God never fucking happens. But that's not the only thing that I have a problem with. It's also an issue with L and his assistant, Watari. Alright, so let's go ahead and just cut straight to it. In this film adaptation, Elle is played by the black actor who was in the film Get Out. And I really, really love Get Out. And I thought that his portrayal of that character in Get Out was fantastic. This guy is a good actor. And his portrayal of Elle is not bad in this adaptation. I just have an issue with some of the direction that was taken with Elle's character. Let's be honest. In the anime, Elle himself is a very strange, reclusive, almost borderline autistic type of character. He's very methodical, he's very calculating, he's very intelligent, but at the same time he has his own ways about him. And the problem I had with L's portrayal in this movie is that he just doesn't seem to have the same level as the other one. And maybe this is because, again, due to it being a film and having very limited time in order to elaborate upon these things, maybe that's the issue. Like in the anime, you get a lot of L's calculative nature and the things that he does to narrow down the search to catching Kira. And in this, it seems like a lot of what he comes to conclusions is merely plot convenience. In the anime, for instance, there's a moment when, to narrow down the search to where Kira is, they announced that this is going to be a worldwide broadcast, when in actuality it was just being broadcast in one section of Japan at the time to see if Kira was there to see it. And he was, which means L immediately forms all of his searching in this one area. However, in this, it doesn't seem like anything he ever does is on that level of intellect. It seems like a lot of what he does is jumping to conclusionary things. Another thing that bothers me is the complete breaking of character, in the sense that Light doesn't do a hell of a lot to incriminate himself as far as L is concerned, and L just basically confronts him in a cafeteria or a restaurant at one point, and they just start arguing back and forth. That bothered the piss out of me. But let's get back to Light real quick. Like I said, he doesn't incriminate himself a lot towards L, but he does a lot of stupid fucking shit in this movie. Alright, first and foremost, if you've seen the anime, you remember the moment that Light meets Ryuk. It's very dark and sinister and mysterious, and Light is a bit worried, but he also has that calm, cool demeanor about him. He knew that a death god had to be revolving around him somewhere, and he was waiting for him to show up. However, in this film adaptation, Light screams like a little bitch. Did you see my thumbnail? He screams like a little bitch. And he freaks the fuck out. It's like, were you trying to ruin the character? Because when I see him acting like a little brat to the bully and then screaming like a bitch when he sees Ryuk, I don't like this character. The thing about Light Yagami in the anime was he was incredibly, what's the word? He was incredibly likable. He was interesting. He was a character you could really attach yourself to. He was attractive, intelligent, and he was just so well executed. Like, that's the one thing that they really fucked up with in this film adaptation, is that he's not the same. For instance, in the anime, Light Yagami does not care about anything more than obtaining his goals, becoming a god, and making a better world in his own image. However, in this film adaptation, Light is just another dumb fucking teenager. For instance, the thing that pisses me off the most is the lengths that Light will go to in the anime to avoid being caught with the Death Note, whereas in the film, Light just fucking shows the girl the Death Note and asks her if she wants to see how it works. Bitch, you not. Light Yagami doesn't even look at the Death Note unless he's in his room, and when he doesn't have the Death Note in his possession, he locks it inside of a secret drawer that could literally combust and burn it away if it were to be found by somebody that doesn't know how to open the drawer properly. However, Light Turner in the film adaptation is sitting in the gymnasium reading the fucking book. Real smart. And when the girl approaches him, he's so hungry for her pussy that he literally shows it to her and, shows her the capabilities of the Death Note. He demonstrates him killing someone with the Death Note. Not only that, but I feel like the people that made this film didn't watch the anime. The rules of the Death Note are very clear. Whoever is in possession of the Death Note, of course, is being possessed, followed by a god of death. Whoever touches the note can clearly see that god of death. He literally hands the book to the girl and she can't see Ryuk, and Ryuk bullshits away by going, "Only the person who's in possession can see me." That's not true. If you watch the anime, numerous times people have touched the Death Note and been able to see Ryuk. Misa was able to see Ryuk. Light was able to see Rem. You had the moment when Light was on the bus with Ray Pember, the detective, the FBI agent, following him, and there was a moment where he literally used the mind control of the Death Note to get a person to come onto the bus, hijack the bus, and he was able to touch a note that Light dropped that was from the Death Note, freaked out, saw Ryuk at the back of the bus, got off the bus, and got hit by a car. But in the movie, only the person who's in possession of the note can see me. No one else can see me. That doesn't make any fucking sense. And it would have been much more interesting for the girl to be able to see and hear Ryuk instead of having this stupid shit go on where she has to ask Light, who are you talking to? Oh, I'm talking to Ryuk. Did he say anything? No, nothing interesting. That's not entertaining for me as a viewer. That's really fucking annoying. But that's not the only issue. The issue I have is the relationship between Light Turner and this girl in the movie becomes extremely creepy extremely fast. She almost gets what I can consider a sexual pleasure off of killing people with the Death Note. And they use the Death Note, I guess, it's the vibe I get. Watch the movie and determine for yourself. They use the Death Note as some sort of foreplay, in my opinion. They're horny little teenagers, I get it, but they're just really creepy with the note. And as the film escalates, that girl gets worse and worse and worse until the point where she wants the Death Note for herself. But I'll get to that eventually. But when it comes down to it, you just have these moments where they're using the note in public. They're talking about Ryuk and the deaths in public. There's one moment later in the film where some shit happens. The best scene in the movie, in my opinion, is when the FBI agents literally kill themselves by walking off a roof. I thought that scene was cool. That was the one scene I liked. But after that scene, they're literally walking up some steps and talking about the shit when other people are in earshot. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You are giving yourself away. If you were being followed by L in the anime, you would be caught and locked in jail right now. But they just do stupid shit like this in the movie. And it's so fucking pretentious and annoying. I hate it. I don't know why they can't be as methodical and intelligent as Light in the anime. Again, another aspect of Light Turner is that he is a dumb, horny teenager, and in a way, he uses the note in order to get pussy. The thing about Light in the anime was he did not care about getting his dick wet. He did not care about other girls, and in a way, I've heard people make the joke that Light was a homosexual. I don't know. I don't think he was. I think he was just so enthralled by his own ambition of becoming a god and having this new world order. But there are moments in the anime where he takes a girl out on a date, again with an FBI detective following him, just to play the game of being a normal teenager on a normal date. There are moments later in the anime where Misa shows up, a girl who has her own death god and her own note, and she is enthralled with Light. She wants nothing more than to ride his dick into the sunset. But all he cares about is killing L, to the point that he is going to use her. And the funny thing is, he lets her know, I'm going to use you, and Rim, her death god, knows that he's going to use her and hates his fucking guts. But because she threatens to kill him, he can't do anything to Misa. Anywho, it's so enthralling to see how he is so cold and so calculated and avoids something that all of us want, basic human contact and, of course, getting our dick sucked occasionally. He avoids all of that because he doesn't care about it. All he wants to be is a god. And in this movie, Light can't keep his hands off this stupid little girl. And they're always, talking about killing people and everything. And he's like, and it's so funny because at one moment she's like, well, what if somebody just wanted to get somebody killed because they slept with the girlfriend or whatever? And what would you do if somebody slept with me? I'd kill him. I'm just like, what the fuck? Is this dialogue? Who wrote this? Did an adult write this? Because I fucking hate it. Christ, where am I even? Let me look at this again. Light is a weirdo. He's obsessed with pussy. The note falls right next to him. Oh yeah, that's another thing that this anime has, that this movie has. Mostly the thing the movie has apart from the anime is lots of cursing and blood and gore. One thing that I noticed right quick about Light Turner versus Light Yagami never really specified death unless he needed to. Most of the killings that took place with Kira revolved around people having heart attacks. It was his MO. And in the anime, it made sense that, all these people having heart attacks, it was unnatural and something was causing it. However, in the film, a lot of the times Light just mentions all of these weird ways that people are going to die. For instance, the bully, Kenny, the one that Ryuk's so eager for him to kill, here, have a pen. He gets his head fucking exploded, like, it says decapitation, but his head is literally exploded. It hits him right here. A ladder hits him right here and tears his whole fucking head apart and blows up the rest of it. Anywho, that guy dies that way. There's another moment when a guy basically gets hit by a car after, like, saluting, which I thought was stupid. Also, who was driving the car and why weren't they paying attention? There They're the things that, like in the anime, it makes sense if somebody steps off a bus into traffic, they're going to get hit by a car. That makes sense, all right? And a police officer, you know, who's chasing another guy who has the powers of Kira at the time, you have to watch the anime, I'm not going to explain all that. He gets hit by another car and dies instantly. Okay, all that makes sense. I get that. That makes sense. But, like, you have a guy in a SWAT van who's just suddenly like, I'm going to run over the fucking perp. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But in the film, he specifies the ways they die a lot. The only time I saw an actual heart attack was at one moment when I think another FBI director had a heart attack and fell down the steps. Or I think it was a police chief. Either way, a police officer, a law enforcement agent, had a heart attack and fell down some steps. And that was the one heart attack I saw in the movie. Most of the other time, it was these elaborate death sequences and things like that. And I'm just like, that's not Kira's MO. He most of the time causes people to die via heart attack. And that's what really bothered me, was how they made Light in this one seem so sadistic in the way that people died, but at the same time they tried to make him more empathetic than Light in the anime. There's one moment after the FBI directors are killed, and you don't know who did it. You don't know if it was Ryuk or if it was Mia. He's like, "Oh, don't kill these people. It's wrong. We shouldn't do that." And then there's another moment where the girl literally wants to kill his father, which pissed me the fuck off because his dad was my favorite character in the fucking anime. His dad was awesome in the anime. His father is so fucking cool in the anime. I wish I had a dad like that. I wish I had a dad. But They try to make him seem sadistic and empathetic all the time, and it just doesn't work. His character is conflicted and clashing at every single moment. He isn't intelligent, he isn't methodical, he isn't thinking, he's just acting on impulse. And it really disturbs me to think that L has such a hard time tracking him down, you know, in the anime versus this version in the film. And again, L, like, I like the actor. I don't mind that he's black. I've seen some people, oh God, he's black, oh Lord. I don't give a fuck. What I care about is the portrayal of L and the level of intellect taken within the character. And it doesn't seem like either one of them are a thinking man. Let's go over this a few more times. Let's see what else. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, yes. Okay, so like I said, the people that made this film didn't pay attention to the anime at all. The Death Note does have the power to control people and make them do different things. In the anime, Light makes prisoners before they die write in blood on their walls, and they literally said, L, do you know gods of death love apples? And that's such an interesting thing because in a way, Light fucks himself by, you know, alluding to the gods of death, which eventually L learns about. And in another way, it shows the ability of the Death Note to control a person before their death. However, in this anime adaptation, the Death Note does impossible things, and it takes the mind control thing too far, in my opinion. One point, it literally has him making prisoners write stuff in Japanese, and it literally says, in the movie, you can watch this, well, the prisoners didn't even know Japanese. You can't make people do what they don't know how to do. You can't make people write in a language they don't comprehend. That is a rule in the Death Note, in the anime. You fuckers didn't even watch this shit. But later, it's a point where Light Turner tries to control L's assistant, Watari. And it's just like he's a fucking helpful zombie at that point, trying to find the information that Light wants. And I'm just baffled by the lengths that some of this stuff goes to try to seem intelligent. It's just like, hey, Watari, what's L's name, you know? And then he goes to this place to try to find it, and eventually he does get killed against Light's wishes, but still, it's really fucking contrived and stupid. I go down and look at my notes, but I can't watch this movie again, so I had to take notes and I had to be ready to make this video. But a lot of this shit culminates when you get to the near end of the film with two big finale moments. After Light has taken control of Watari and he has inadvertently gotten him killed, L has a breakdown. And this is the biggest flaw with L's character in the film versus L's character in the anime. L in the anime was always very calm, cool, and collected. Now, I haven't watched the anime in a while, but I'm pretty sure L never broke down and lost his shit. He did have moments of confrontation. He did fight with Light a few times, like just kicking him in the face, which was always funny. But L was most of the time very calm and collected. And in the anime, in the movie, he has himself a little nervous breakdown, which leads to what I call the chase scene. And the chase scene is, of course, ramping up to the finale scene. In the chase scene, they literally chase Light all over the city. There are police officers, there are SWAT units, and there's L literally chasing Light. The problem I have with this is, again, it's very different than the anime. There didn't need to be any weird chase scenes in the anime because most of the time people weren't running. It's not that type of anime. It was not, oh man, we got to pursue him. You know, it's, oh, he's right here hiding in plain sight because he's intelligent. But it leads to the chase scene, and one of the biggest problems with L is he points a gun at Light. Now, the issue I have with this scene is, number one, the gun reminds me of that gun, I think, from Blade Runner and from Fallout New Vegas, and the fact that L would even have a gun. This breaks his character. I understand that they wanted to go for, oh, he's emotionally damaged right now. He's lost his assistants, his buddy Watari. Okay, I get that. But the fact that he's pointing a gun at Kira, at Light, is such a misrepresentation of who L is. L is a very honorable character. In many ways, I would say L and Kira are two sides of the same coin. Both of them have honor, both of them have respect, both of them have great intellect, and both of them have their own dark, mysterious ways. But L in the anime would never ever think of going so far as to taking someone else's life. He is all about pursuing people, he is all about, you know, justice, he's all about, you know, doing what is right. And even if, you know, Kira had done something horrible to him in the anime, he would have gotten mad, but he would not have lost his fucking shit the way that L does in this film. And it just really kills me how they butchered these fucking characters. He points a gun at Light. That's fucked up. But after that scenario, it leads to the finale. The finale of the movie pisses me off because at once it's stupid, and at twice it tries so much in this final moment when you're already weary from watching the rest of the film. It tries so hard to be intelligent. What am I talking about? I'll explain. In the finale of the Death Note movie, Light and Mia are in a giant Ferris wheel up top, and she is like, give me my fucking book, because at this point the stupid cunt really wants the Death Note. Little to her knowledge, he has already written an elaborate plan that will kill her, save him, lead the investigation elsewhere, and eventually bring the note back to him, and all these different things. So, here's what happens. The whole Ferris wheel comes crashing down, Light falls into the water, Mia fucking dies, and he wakes up in a hospital room, and his father is there. And his father basically finds out that he is Kira. Now, in the anime, in the end, when his father finds out that he's Kira, when Kira has been revealed, this is a climactic moment. This is the culmination of the entire anime. A moment in which Light realizes his ambition, loses his ambition, and dies. Ryuk writes his name in his note and fucking kills him. However, in the movie, Light explains his elaborate plan. The moment that Mia took the book, everything set into motion. The Ferris wheel fell, she died. He fell into the water, she landed on something hard and fucking killed her instantly. Broke her fucking spine. He landed in the water and was saved by a nearby person who resuscitated him and took the Death Note. And of course it passes, I believe, from a few different people who use it and then die, and eventually it comes back to him. But the fact that Light lives in this movie shows me that not only do they think their movie is good, but they want to make a sequel, which, fuck you, you don't deserve a sequel. But it also really breaks the entire point of the Light's role in the anime. So, if you've seen the anime, you know that anyone that uses a Death Note doesn't have a happy ending. A person that uses a Death Note is in for a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and when they die, they can neither go to heaven nor hell. I have no idea where they end up, limbo, purgatory, but they are cursed, essentially. And in the anime, Light dies at the end. Ryuk kills him. And in this, Light lives. See, the point of the anime for me is that no matter how great your ambition, no matter how noble your cause, we are all able to be felled by our own human ambition. We're all able to reach out for our goal and miss it entirely. Light's goal was to kill bad people and make a better world, and in the end he became the bad person and was punished because of it. However, in the film it's just like, oh, You're off scot-free. Don't worry about it. Oh, Elle's going to be freaking out somewhere else till the sequel, but you're fine. You're good. Nobody's going to bother you. That's fucking stupid. I took notes. I watched this movie, and this movie is just god-awful. So if you've seen my entire YouTube video, my question to you is right now, have you seen this movie? What did I miss? What pissed you off about it? Have you watched the anime? If you haven't watched the anime and you've watched my video, I really recommend you go check out the anime despite me spoiling quite a few things. And I recommend after you watch the anime, you go watch this film. But first and foremost, above all else, if you have Netflix, I want you to go on Netflix right now. I want you to type in Death Note and I want you to give it a big fat fucking thumbs down. We don't have 1 stars anymore, so give it a thumbs down. Because if they make a sequel to this shit, I don't even know what to say about that. This film was a dumpster fire through and through. The characters are wrong, the portrayals are wrong. Some of the acting talent is okay. I like the actor that portrays Light Turner's father. He didn't have the mustache, but I like that actor. I saw him very recently in King Kong. He's a good actor. But unfortunately, this film is just garbage. The scenarios were wrong. The plot motivations were wrong. Everything about this film fucking sucked. And if you haven't seen the anime and you watch this movie, I don't want you to think, oh man, the anime must be just as bad. No, the anime is glorious. It's intelligent, it's well thought out, it's beautifully paced, it has great character moments, it has great twists, and I absolutely fucking recommend you watch it. For this film though, I really recommend avoiding it, but definitely go thumbs it down. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed me having a borderline hernia talking about it, give me a thumbs up. If you hated this movie and you want my name to be written in the note, give me a thumbs down. Thank you for watching. Do take care and stay tuned for more content.